They chased us like prey, turning villages into graveyards and rivers into feeding pits. From the Gustave the crocodile who could swallow a man whole to Champawat Tigress that claimed 436 lives, these wild predators didn't just kill. They rewrote the definition of fear itself. So join us for today's video as we're going to count down the 15 deadliest man-eaters ever recorded. Number 15. Tsavo man-eaters. By the late 1890s, the Uganda Railway was stretching through Kenya's wilderness, and two ferocious lions decided the workforce was dinner. Massive, maneless males, each nearly 9 feet long, they blended into the dark and moved like shadows. They passed through thorn fences and tents without a sound, dragging men from their beds while the rest of the camp froze in terror. For 9 months, construction slowed to a crawl. Officially, 35 workers were confirmed dead, mostly Indians and local tribesmen. Unofficially, survivors claimed the count was far higher. The fear alone halted progress and sparked outrage all the way to the British Parliament. These weren't random attacks. The lions studied camp routines, dodged traps, and struck with chilling precision. Firelight and barricades failed. When they were finally killed, chemical tests revealed something grim. More than half of one lion's final meals came from human remains. Their death ended the nightmare, but their legend still stalks the region to this day. Number 14. Sankabetsu brown bear. It was Sankabetsu, Hokkaido, 1915, when something enormous moved through the trees. It was 9 feet tall and nearly 750 pounds. Locals would come to know it by one name, Kesagake. Its first strike came quietly, a horse bolting into the cold. But the real horror began on December 9th. That morning, Kesagake walked straight into the Ota farmhouse. Inside, Abe Mayu was caring for her neighbor's baby. The bear lunged for the child first. Mayu fought back with firewood, a desperate move against half a ton of killer. The bear turned on her, clamped down, and dragged her into the forest. When neighbors arrived, the house was destroyed, and the floor told the story in blood. A search party went after it, hoping to kill the bear and recover what they could. They fired and missed. The bear escaped, leaving remains behind in the snow. By the time Kesagake was finally stopped, 7 people were dead. It was the deadliest bear attack in Japanese history. Number 13. Champawat Tigress. In the early 1900s, the forests of Nepal and India's Kumaon region were ruled by one beast, the Champawat Tigress. Between 1900 and 1907, she claimed 436 lives, earning the record as the deadliest man-eater in history and turning entire regions into abandoned ghost towns. She wasn't some nocturnal, cautious hunter. She walked into villages in full daylight like she owned them, taking men, women, and children, then disappearing into the forest like smoke. Farmers fled their fields, schools shut down, roads emptied. Even armed Gurkha regiments failed to stop her. Every failed pursuit only added to her legend. Her fixation on humans likely came from a shattered jaw that made hunting wild prey too hard. Humans were slower, softer, and more easy to predict. She memorized village layouts, tracked routines, and struck with disturbing accuracy. In 1907, Jim Corbett accepted the mission on one condition: no bounty or backup. Following the drag marks of a 16-year-old victim, he found her and ended her 7-year reign with one clean shot. Number 12. Osama bin Laden, the elephant. In the foggy plains of Assam, where jungle meets farmland, a giant emerged from the shadows. Locals named him Osama bin Laden, borrowing the title from an already infamous name. This wasn't a gentle elephant grazing by the river. He left behind wrecked homes, flattened crops, and a growing list of dead. One night in Golpara district, he rampaged through, killing 5 villagers before disappearing again. But this wasn't his first strike. Locals whispered of earlier attacks, each one worse than the last. Authorities launched a full-scale operation. Drones flew overhead. Rangers rode on trained elephants, tracking him carefully. But Layden was unpredictable, solitary, and always a step ahead. He could vanish into the jungle at will and turn violent without warning. The mission was to end him without adding more bodies. From Assam to the Garo Hills, villagers slept uneasily, and Layden wasn't some fluke. Elephants kill nearly 500 people a year in India. Thankfully, this killer elephant died after a week in captivity. Number 11. Gustave the crocodile. In Lake Tanganyika lurks Gustave, a Nile crocodile so big he makes other crocodiles look like pond decorations. Estimated at over 20 feet long and weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, Gustave doesn't just survive, he dominates. He's been blamed for hundreds of deaths along Burundi's Ruzizi River. Witnesses claim he's yanked fishermen out of canoes, ambushed villagers on shore, and sometimes killed multiple people in one night. His territory stretches from Kasanga to Magara, leaving behind empty boats, shredded nets, and towns where no one dares swim. Herpetologist Patrice Fay, who's tracked him for decades, calls him a perfect predator. Locals believe he's eaten 10, 15, even 20 people in a single spree. Maybe they're exaggerating, maybe not. But fear doesn't care about facts. Gustave has outlived traps, survived bullets, and outsmarted scientists for over 40 years. His body bears old scars, bullet wounds, spears, but he's never been caught. He's still alive, still free, and still the stuff of riverside nightmares. Number 10. Panar leopard. Where the Himalayan foothills blend into the terraced farmland, one predator turned nightfall into a death sentence. This leopard wasn't just a big cat. It was a lone male, lean, precise, and terrifyingly focused on one thing: hunting humans. Over several years, it killed more than 400 people, a number so extreme it sounds unreal. But it wasn't. Its true weapon was silence. Victims were gone before anyone realized they were being hunted. It studied human habits with unsettling accuracy, slipping into homes and huts under the cover of darkness, never staying long, never making mistakes. The harsh terrain worked in its favor, making organized hunts nearly impossible. It never took risks, never shared, never slowed down. For years, terror settled into the hills like fog. In 1910, legendary hunter Jim Corbett tracked and killed it. The relief was real. For the first time in years, people slept without fear, clawing at the back of their necks. Number 9. Beast of Gévaudan. In 18th century Gévaudan, France, farmers had their fair share of problems: wolves, weather, taxes, but nothing like what appeared in 1764. Witnesses described it as wolf-like, but wrong. The size of a calf, reddish-gray fur, a dark stripe down its spine, and a tail thick enough to break bones. It hunted in daylight, targeting children, shepherds, and adults, turning peaceful pastures into blood-soaked scenes. The first confirmed kill came in June 1764, when 14-year-old Jean Boulet was attacked while tending sheep. After that, the killings escalated. Some months saw multiple attacks. Whispers started. Was it one beast or many? King Louis XV got involved, offering a bounty and sending elite hunters. In 1765, a royal gunman shot a large wolf. Everyone relaxed, until the killings returned, worse than before. In June 1767, local hunter Jean Chastel killed a huge wolf on Montmouchet. Human remains were found inside. The attack stopped. But centuries later, the mystery still lingers. Was it a wolf or something worse? Number 8. Sloth bear of Mysore. In 1957, deep in the rocky hills of Mysore state, something was moving faster than any shadow had a right to. Sloth bears are usually shy, slow-moving insect eaters. Not this one. This bear skipped every rule. Villagers whispered about curses, stolen cubs, or rage over a captured mate. But famed hunter Kenneth Anderson had a simpler theory. Someone hurt the bear, and it remembered. The attacks began in the Nagvara Hills near Aurora. The bear wandered far beyond the forest line, storming into farms, sometimes in broad daylight. Victims didn't hear it coming. Just a blur of black fur, claws like hooks, and a level of facial destruction no doctor could fix. Survivors were left without eyes, jaws, or noses. The dead were barely recognizable. By the time 12 were killed and dozens more were disfigured, the region was in full panic. Anderson finally tracked and killed the bear, but not before it became the gruesome man-eater. Number 7. Jaguar of Pantanal. In Brazil's Pantanal wetlands, jaguars don't just dominate the food chain, they are the food chain. Weighing over 200 pounds and built for ambush, this big cat has the strongest bite of any feline alive. It can puncture bone like it's cracking peanuts. Most jaguars steer clear of people, but when they don't, the result isn't a warning, it's a kill. On April 21, 2025, the Miranda River turned into a crime scene. Jorge Roguinho Avalo, caretaker of the Turo Morto fishing lodge, vanished on his usual morning round. Cameras had already spotted a jaguar circling the area for weeks. That day, it made its move. Jorge's body was found 300 meters away, mid-drag. The cat was still there, unbothered by shouting as if guarding its lunch. Such bold behavior is rare, disturbing even. Jaguars rarely target humans, but when they do, they don't second-guess it. That attack made headlines, but for the locals living near the water, it confirmed what they already feared. Number 6. Wolf of Gizinga. In the frozen quiet of a Swedish winter, one predator rewrote everything people thought they knew about wolves. The wolf of Gizinga, weighing between 80 and 150 pounds, had the speed, stamina, and bite power to shatter bone. But what made it truly terrifying wasn't brute strength. It was its obsessive focus on hunting people. Over 3 relentless months, it carried out 31 confirmed attacks, nearly one every 3 days. Most victims were under 12, grabbed while playing or gathering firewood near the village edge. One 19-year-old woman was killed, and an 18-year-old man was badly injured. But the wolf clearly preferred smaller targets. It attacked with ruthless efficiency, then vanished back into the snow before anyone could react. The kills were clean, brutal, and fast. Exactly what you'd expect from a predator that had winter on its side. When bodies were found, many were partially eaten. In March 1821, after weeks of tracking through waist-deep snow, villagers finally brought it down, ending the nightmare. Number 5. Pythons. The reticulated python, Burmese python, African rock python. These aren't your average snakes. They're nature's most patient stranglers, and when they move, it's not a strike, it's a shutdown. Confirmed, at least 6 people fully swallowed. Many more, crushed and abandoned. They don't stalk like lions or chase like wolves. They wait, still as stone, hidden beneath leaves or brush. Then 20 feet of muscle and jaw uncoils in silence. In Indonesia, it's not folklore, it's fact. In 2017, Akbar disappeared and was later found inside a 23-foot python. In 2018, a woman vanished from her garden. June 2024, another woman, another serpent. Then came South Button District, 2024 again, a 63-year-old man eaten by a 26-foot snake. Same grim sequence, bite, wrap, squeeze until lungs fold and the heart stops. If you're small enough, you go down whole. If not, you're dropped, mangled. Even expert handlers have been killed by snakes barely 9 feet long. In some villages, surviving one isn't luck. It's a rite of passage. Number 4. Dingo. In 1980, the Australian outback became the center of one of the most infamous man-eater cases on record. But this time, it wasn't a lion, bear, or croc. It was a dingo. The same wild dogs that tourists photograph and locals dismiss. Standing around 2 feet tall, weighing just 30 pounds, dingoes don't rely on brute force. They rely on sharp instincts, teamwork, and opportunity. For decades, they were viewed as scavengers, not predators. That changed when 9-week-old Azaria Chamberlain vanished from a family tent near Uluru. Her mother's cry, "A dingo took my baby," sparked global attention. It took over 30 years for official confirmation. But history didn't wait. In 2001, a 9-year-old boy was killed by 2 dingoes at Wadi Point on Kagari, Fraser Island. Dingoes are no longer treated like curious strays. When they go feral and lose fear of humans, they stop raiding campsites and start treating people like prey. Number 3, alligators. It floats without a ripple, camouflaged as driftwood, until it moves, and suddenly, you're already caught. Since 1970, at least 27 people have been killed by alligators in the US, not counting the endless list of maulings. These aren't mistakes. These aren't accidents. When an alligator takes a person, it knows exactly what it's doing. Its attack is almost lazy in its perfection. Silent weight, violent burst, over a ton of bite pressure, followed by the death roll. That spin is designed to shred limbs and drown anything that resists. There's no chase, no second try, just brutal efficiency. Florida holds most of the body count, but Louisiana, South Carolina, and other southern states carry their own scars. People have been snatched from docks, riverbanks, and even backyards. And removing one rogue gator doesn't solve much. Another takes its place. Number 2, sharks. Sharks aren't confused fish nibbling by mistake. They're apex predators. Of the 500-plus species, the big 3 that strike fear in humans are great whites, tiger sharks, and bull sharks. Between 2013 and 2022, there were 788 confirmed unprovoked attacks globally, 73 fatal. Stretch the timeline, and fatalities climb into the hundreds. In 1916, the Jersey Shore turned nightmarish. A shark killed 4 people in less than 2 weeks, including a child, in a river. In 1935, a tiger shark in Sydney vomited a tattooed human arm in captivity, solving a murder. In 2023, 68-year-old Colleen Munur off Indonesia. 2 weeks later, won't happen only offshore. Man-eating sharks cruise shallows, river mouths, and surf breaks. They don't wait for swimmers to venture too far. They take what's available. While rare, shark attacks carry a weight no statistic can ease. Number 1, cougar. 1 second, the forest feels calm. The next, it's a silent execution. The cougar, puma concolor, is North America's most elusive predator, responsible for at least 20 confirmed human deaths, and likely many more. From British Columbia's icy cliffs to Patagonia's windswept lowlands, its territory is vast. Its presence, nearly invisible. When it strikes, it's with surgical precision. One bite to the neck, jaws sliding between vertebrae, snapping the spinal cord in an instant. It can leap 40 feet, scale cliffs with ease, and vanish before you even realize it was there. Most attacks happen in warmer months, when young cougars, freshly kicked out by their mothers, go looking for new turf. Children account for 64% of North America's cougar-related deaths, their small size too tempting to ignore. In California, expanding suburbs have turned backyards into hunting zones. In 2024, the state saw its first fatal attack in 20 years. Washington waited nearly a century. South America's cases are rare, but equally deadly. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you very soon.